Hi. Today we are going to be doing a... Yes, can I help you? Hello? Okay. Today we are going to be doing another crafty video because, like I said in a previous video, I'm all about the crafts right now. I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. I'm gonna cut to the chase. I'm gonna cut to the chase, yes. I'm gonna cut to the chase. I have been seeing a lot of like keycaps, you know, like people make custom keycaps and stuff, and I want to do that. So today we are going to be making custom keycaps. I bought a cute set of keycaps. I bought a cute set of keycaps off of Amazon. Nothing crazy to replace the keys on my keyboard. And I think I'm gonna try to customize like maybe 2 or 3 keys. And we're gonna use some of the techniques that I've learned from my previous videos, like the resin little figures that I made and everything. But also one of the things that I really wanna try is flocking. If you don't know, flocking is when you put the little, there's like fibers on the thing, so it's like kind of fuzzy. Think of like these types of bears or I don't know, that's like the only thing I can think of is like these types of bears right now. But that's flocking, and I, for some reason, have been really obsessed with it. So I got some flocking material off of Temu before all of these like tariff things started happening like crazy. I'm gonna try to flock the little keycaps that I make. And I think I'm gonna make like little doggies. That's all I have to say about that. So let's just jump in and go into top-down mode.
So here is the keyboard set that I got off of Amazon. It's really cute. I'm doing these first ones up here, the F1 to F4, but it has really good ASMR sounds. Listen. All right, that's enough of that. So I sketched out some ideas, and I think I'm gonna go with this one here for the first one at least. I thought it was pretty cute. This is the flocking powder, and then I have some little silicone brushes. This is the flocker machine thing. It's literally just 2 cardboard tubes together. My resin, some gloves, and of course some bubble tea. The first thing I did was I wrapped one of the keys in aluminum foil because I wanted to make sure that every time I checked to make sure that the little resin guy I was making would fit, that it wouldn't just stick to the keycap, and resin doesn't stick to aluminum. So covered it in aluminum foil and then began to sculpt. When I would get the shape that I wanted down, I would quickly flash cure it under a UV lamp and then add the other shapes and build off of that. That way I wasn't smushing the head while I was working on the other parts of the body. And then I would do the same with all of the other parts as well. So build out the body, flash cure it, do some limbs, flash cure those, etc. in the last part here, which is the ears. And then once everything is kind of flash cured, I put it into the UV lamp for about a minute or two just to make sure that it's fully cured. I don't want any goopy resin in the middle. I'm making little wings here because I want to make a little wingling dragon. I mean, a little wingling doggy. If you catch my reference, that's a deep cut, I guess, for my older millennials out there. I cure them, and then once they're cured, I had these really pretty kind of sparkly translucent nail polishes, and I wanted the wings to be really sparkly and translucent and shiny, so I painted them with nail polish. Easy! Now it was on to color. So I used my pan pastels like I did previously on my little keychains from my previous video. And I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it's because I was using a different resin, but the powder just didn't stick as well. And it was rubbing off way more. I think it had to do with the fact that my resin was different and it didn't have as much of like a sticky layer as the previous one did. But I blushed on the colors anyway, and I figured I would just go in and paint them later. So I added my little eyeballs.
Oh no!
Now I wanted to test and see which glue was better for the flocking material, so I got a cereal box and set it up kind of like this so that I could collect all the little fibers. I coated one of the little nodule things in fabric glue and then the other one in a tacky glue. I just wanted to see which one would hold the fibers better, but in the end it seemed like the tacky glue was the winner. I also learned that this was way messier than I anticipated and I needed a little extra, so I did add cardboard on the sides as well because I wanted to enclose this, and I even don't think I enclosed it enough. But a lot of this was experimenting. I colored this with Posca pens this time, which I hated the finish of, but I figured it would be fine since I was going to be coating this in flocking material anyway. So I dumped a bunch of tacky glue in a container and then just painted on the white part first because I wanted to do the white part with white flocking and then the pink part with pink flocking. So I had to make sure that the white part was only painted, then flocked, then dry, and then paint the pink part with glue and then flock that. I was trying to use this contraption and it just really wasn't coating it the way I wanted to. And in the end, I found it was just easier to sprinkle it on. I also found that it didn't spread very evenly, so some parts I had to add more glue than others and like really pack on the flock. Which is what I just did, was sprinkle on the white flock, let it all dry, and then sprinkle on the pink flock. While that dried, I moved on to the second little guy who I just figured would just be sitting on the F2 button. So I just went back right to sculpting. Now now that the white part was completely dry, I went back in on the first little guy and added the glue. And then this time I figured I would just dump it. Just dump the pink stuff on. It kind of worked. Sprinkling seemed like it worked the best. So I just rotated and glued and sprinkled and shook and repeated until I felt like this little guy was sufficiently flocked. And then I just had to let him dry. While he dried, I moved on to the second one and added all of his facial features like the tongue and the little eyeballs and everything. Since those were all done with gels and resins anyway, they would have to go into the UV lamp to cure. So I just added all of those things and then stuck them into the UV lamp and then moved on to coloring him. I decided this time I was going to try to just use nail polish because, I mean, a lot of the stuff I was using was for nails anyway. And I don't know, I just like to experiment. So I'm using this gel nail polish for the white, and then I use just like a regular nail polish for the blue. I like the idea of being able to paint and then immediately curing it so that I can't make any mistakes. But it was a little annoying working with the regular nail polish because you can't automatically cure it. You have to let that just regular dry. Also, both of these nail polishes were like really sheer for some reason, even though I've used that blue one before and it's not normally that sheer, but whatever. So I had to paint this in multiple layers. And now it was time to attach the first guy. So I put down some more of my UV glue, stuck him on, and then I used the UV lamp to stick it. I'm a little concerned that the glue I put right smack in the middle might not have gotten the lamp's light on it, so it might not be cured in the middle. But I think that's okay, just as long as nobody, I don't know, somehow breaks it off and then touches the middle. But it's on my keyboard anyway, so I know that this could be a predicament. I think it should be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry, it's fine. I'm gonna say now, it's fine. So for the third little guy, since we're all experimenting here, I decided I was just gonna try to make him with regular clay, like a Sculpey clay that you have to bake. This one was, I don't know, it has its pros and cons obviously, because I felt like it was easier to sculpt than the resin, but it was annoying that I had to wait longer because every piece I would bring back to the oven and bake for a little bit just so it would be hardened and I wouldn't squish it while I was adding all of the other parts. So I did a lot more trips to the oven and like waiting a little longer because it takes longer for it to cook, I guess, versus flash curing. But I did have better control over the clay than the resin, which I guess makes sense since people have been using clay for sculpting for literally like a millennia. You're sitting like a cute boy. Like a cute gentleman. Look at how cute you are.
Looks like a little bear.
Also, I'm bouncing between these guys because while one dries, I work on the other one. So I had to wait for all of the blue to dry on this one to go back in and do more layers. So once I did my final layers, I went in with just a black marker to give him a nose. And then I had this kind of nail buff chrome stuff that I brushed him with to make him all kind of sparkly and shiny. And once I covered him with that, I coated him with his final coat of UV resin, and then he was done. Now for the last one, I just went in with acrylic paint. Honestly, I should have primed this first before I just went straight with the paint, but yeah, you live and you learn. So I also wanted to make this little guy pink because I thought it would be cute to just have like a pink, a blue, and then another pink. Self-explanatory, just painting with acrylics. I had to do multiple layers. Once all of them got their little resin coats, then I stuck them all on their keys and they were done. Now it was time to take off all of the other keycaps and put on the new ones, including my little custom ones. My husband is a big tech guy and I've never done this before, so I had to call on him for some help. It was very easy though.
What do I do?
Put your finger through the ring.
Okay.
You press it down on the keycap until it clicks, and then you
Don't I have
pull
to
it up.
disable this so it doesn't like press buttons while I'm doing things?
Who cares if you don't have anything on your screen that matters?
And I pull it up. Oh,
That's it.
okay.
You just go to where the little plus sign is. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's that easy.
And that's about it, so let's move on to the reveal.
right. I'm back in the same outfit because I filmed these back to back. So I think the keycaps turned out decently cute. Thunderstorm. I kind of like the resin one the best out of the 3 that I did. I don't know if maybe the fibers for the flocking were too long. I feel like maybe I need almost like weird powder or something for something that small. I assume that the bigger the thing, the flocking would be easier or look less messy. But I also don't know because this was like my first time flocking anything ever. So I could be wrong. I could have just done something wrong. I don't know. But because they are so small, I feel like I almost would need to cut up the flocking somehow into even smaller fibers. I feel like it just needs like a powder almost. I don't know. Maybe I'll research some more and try to figure out other things and maybe flock something else in the future and try again. I don't know. It's very messy. Even with the little box that I made for flocking, as you could probably tell throughout the video, I was dealing with fibers everywhere for the rest of the time, and still to this day there are fibers everywhere. So it is very messy. So I suggest doing it in an even bigger contained area, and then also for sure wearing a respirator. I was wearing a respirator. So the resin one I feel like turned out the best, and then I think the clay one turned out kind of cute. I don't know, I think they turned out fine. I should say they turned out fine. They're not insanely polished, and I'm sure that that's just like user error, like learning how to do this whole process. And I'm sure that if I did this again, I would probably make better ones because it's like you kind of learn as you go. I am glad that I did this after making the little keychain charms because I feel like I did learn how to handle that resin better because I made so many of those little charms. But yeah, overall this was a pretty fun project, just something cute to like accessorize. I'm a very maximalist girly, if you can't tell. So I love being able to customize anything and everything. For example, it drives me crazy that these are just black. I want to put like a border or something on both of these to make them nicer, so maybe that'll be my next project. Yeah, like the keyboard was cute. It was fine because it was pink, but I mean, these keys have little doggies on them, so duh. So making little keycaps also, like cute little guys that I can see and touch. Fun times, man. But yeah, that's about it. Feel free to follow me on social media. My handle is basically the same everywhere, Savannah Alexandra Art on Instagram and on TikTok. On Blue Sky, it's just Savannah Alexandra, I think. But all of the links to social media is down below. Links to my website for things that are for sale, as well as my print shop and my sticker club and my webtoon comic of the puppets. So feel free to follow any of those things down below in the little box. And that's about it. All right, goodbye. Bye-bye.